Hi guys, I'm Buck Weezer, putting the do into do-it-yourself. And I've got with me here up on the table a really nice Craftsman mower with a Briggs Stratton engine. And I fixed this mower, not that long ago, and it's back. I guess we'll take our theme for today's video from my favorite comedy group, the Three Stooges. When they said, "Don't worry, we always fix it right the second time." Hey, you know what episode that's from? Points, bonus points, the first one that can comment on which episode of the Three Stooges that comes from, and who was it said by, Moe, Larry, or Curly? Or was it Shemp? Or was it Joe? Or was it Curly Joe? All right, it was Moe, Larry, or Curly, I'll give you that much. So yeah, this mower came to me as a no-start situation, and I figured it would be the usual clogged carburetor, clogged main jet due to ethanol fuel. That is, after all, the number one reason why your lawnmower won't start. I've got a I got a video on that. Turned out to be my most successful video of all time, because that is the most common problem. I figured that's what was going on here. I did my usual checks, and then I went to start it, and I noticed something particular and peculiar. Let me show you what I found. So here's what happens. Squeeze the brake lever and pull the starter rope. It pulls way too easily. There's like no compression. Can pull it with my pinky finger, 2 fingers. It never comes to that point where you usually can feel the compression and you feel that resistance. So, no compression. And you can tell that just by how easily the rope pulls. Well, let's put it up on the workbench and I'll show you what we got. So when I realized there was no real compression to this engine, I decided maybe one of the valves is stuck open or something like that. And what I did was I took off the muffler, these 2 bolts right here, which gave me access to the valve cover back there, and I took that off. And then I turned the engine by hand, and I was able to see that one of the valves was moving, traveling freely as it should, but the other one was only moving the tiniest bit. And that's when I decided, well, I guess I'm going to take the cylinder head off and take a better, closer look at those valves. Give you a picture of what it looked like when I did that. Yep, valve seat had come loose. Could you see that in the photo? And I pressed it back in, and but I had no real assurance that it wouldn't happen again. And sure enough, the next time we used the mower, halfway through the job, same problem. So I already know, even before I take this apart, what the problem is. That valve seat has come loose, and I've since learned better, by doing a little online research, a more effective way to solve it than what I had done originally. So we always fix it right the second time, and I'm going to show you how to do it also if you ever come across a situation where there's no compression. So our first step is to take the cover off the engine. We don't have to take the muffler down. We're going to take the cylinder head off. So we're going to unplug the spark plug wire, move that out of the way. Let me get some tools to take this off, and then we'll unbolt the cylinder head, and I think we'll be able to repair this a little more effectively than I did on my first attempt. That might be all I need to do to get this off. So there's our cover, and sure enough, as I had shown you previously, the same situation's going on. Bring you in to see that a little closer. It's bright out here. I'm not sure if you can even see that. All right, so yeah, there it is. See, he's come off. Yeah, and this is our intake valve. A lot of times it's the valve seat on your exhaust valve that comes off, but in this case it's the intake. I know that because this lower one goes straight to our muffler right here. So this is the intake valve. The seat has come loose and it's sort of hanging up the valve, keeping it from closing completely, and with the valve stuck open like that, that explains why we have no compression. Looks like we have a little oil here too that might be leaking past our piston rings. Not going to worry about that right now. So I'm going to take this cover off, give us a little more room to work and a little more visibility to what we're going to do to get this seat back in so that it stays for the long haul. Okay, so I'm going to spin the engine by hand to move the piston all the way to top dead center, really just because I want to keep crud from accumulating in that cylinder. And we need to pry off this head gasket. This job gives us a good opportunity to replace this, which I may not do because I don't have one. So if it comes off whole without breaking, probably just going to reuse it. It doesn't look compromised to me, so I think we're going to be all right. Save that for later. Clean them off later before we use them. Okay, so now we can turn the engine by hand and we'll get the exhaust valve to open as much as it can, which might be right now because this is hung up in there. But I've got to get that, oh, there it goes. It's opening more now, and so this becomes loose. So we're just going to leave the valve in there and allow it to close. Okay, so the valve itself has pushed the seat back in for us. But we know that it doesn't want to stay there because it popped out again after we had pushed this in previously. Now when I pushed it in previously, I think I took a punch and a hammer and just tried to tap it in a little bit better. So it worked for a while, but long term it failed again. So bring the piston back up to the top, and we're going to tap lightly on the valve itself just to seat that valve seat as best we can, using the valve itself to push it in. And I'm just going to use a screwdriver to sort of have a rounded handle. Alright, so we've pressed it in as best we can that way. And it should stay in now when the exhaust valve comes out. So let's see. Alright, so the seat stays in. Alright, that's how it should be. We'll let it close again. Now in some of the research that I did online and videos I looked at, the idea was to take a punch and put some dimples around into the soft aluminum to sort of use that to create a squeezing effect on that valve seat. And that's what I'm also going to try. I don't know how effective it will be because we've got the lip here. and then the valve seat. And there's like 1/8 of an inch before that happens. But we're going to give it a try anyway and hope that we can get that valve seat squozen in there more tightly by putting some dimples in the soft aluminum. So I got a hammer using a punch, and we're going to see if we can do something here. So you see those 2 dimples that I made? I'm just going to work my way around the valve, doing that into the soft aluminum of the engine block in hopes of it squeezing that valve seat in there a little more tightly. I've never done this before. And I don't think we have much to lose by giving it a try. Alright, this one sneaked down towards the exhaust valve. Hopefully that's okay there. Alright, now I'm going to get a flat punch. And I'm going to just try to tap the edge of the valve seat. I don't want it misshapen. All right. Got a slightly larger punch that I'm going to go over the same holes with. Alright, so let's try that. Alright, so far so good. Let's close it again. And now I'm going to take a big flat round one and just flatten down each of them. And I'm going to leave it at that, I think. You know, possibly there would have been some value in actually removing the valve, but again, then I had to take off the muffler, open the valve cover, compress the spring, take out, and I decided I just don't, it's not that important to me to work it that carefully. I'm just going to give this a nice, they say, a college try, and hopefully it will stay in. Hopefully it will keep that valve seat in there more reliably, and we'll get some more life out of this engine with doing just a 10-15 minute procedure. Alright, so I'm going to clean it up, clean off this surface here, clean off our head gasket, put the head back on, put the engine back together, and I'll meet you in the yard for, we'll try it out. We'll mow some grass together. Well, let's see if we've got it fixed. I can definitely feel compression now. You can feel it in the rope. Come to that point where you feel the resistance. So let's see if it'll fire up and run for us. And then what we'll try to do is mow some grass here inside this fenced area of my yard. Let's see how we do. Well, there you go. It seems to be running pretty good. I mowed this area inside the fenced part of the yard, about 10 or 15 minutes run time, and the mower seems to have done a pretty good job, and that makes me feel pretty good. So hopefully I got it right the second time. And you know, that makes me realize that the essence of do-it-yourself is not being a know-it-all, but learning as you go with a willingness to try and get your hands dirty. And sometimes it means coming back and putting into practice what you didn't know the first time. And that's the essence of do-it-yourself. So that's what this is about, putting the do into do-it-yourself. It's not do-it-yourself without the do. And hopefully, keep our fingers crossed, we'll get a lot more life out of this mower, because it's a really nice one. You know, self-propelled. I like the rear wheels, and it's been garage kept. It's clean, it's nice. It's got a lot of life left in it, I hope. I hope this is of help to you. Feel free to leave your comments, your questions, and I'll look forward to interacting with you in the discussion below. And thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.